Mr. Secretary, over the past week, a number of European countries have publicly pleaded with Germany to allow the transfer of their tanks. You met with your German counterpart yesterday, and like you said today, they still have not made a decision. Are you disappointed in the German position? And how can Germany still be seen as a reliable ally, given what is widely perceived as them dragging their feet on something so simple? And for the chairman, is there any prohibition on the use of American weapons by the Ukrainians in Crimea currently? And you've talked about how this war, like many others, has to end through a negotiated settlement. Is now the time for the Russians and Ukrainians to come to the table to talk about that?
Thanks, Idris. First, let me say that this isn't really about one single platform. And so our goal, and I think we've been fairly successful at doing this and bringing together capability, is to provide the capability that Ukraine needs to be successful in the near term. And so you've heard us talk about 2 battalions of Bradley infantry fighting vehicles, very capable platform. 3 battalions or a brigade's worth of strikers. So you add that up, that's 2 brigades of combat power that the U.S. is providing, along with enablers and other things. So you look at Sweden providing a battalion of CV-90s, that's an armored personnel carrier. The Germans are providing mortars. The Poles are providing a battalion's worth of mechanized capability. You heard the chairman highlight 4 battalions of artillery, mechanized artillery that's being provided. So this is a very, very capable package, and they, you know, if employed properly, it will enable them to be successful. Now we're going to ensure that we're doing everything necessary to ensure that they have the ability to employ it properly. You heard us talk about training, additional training that we're going to do. This is something that we haven't been able to do in the past. So, you know, as we speak, you know, troops are being linked up with Bradley infantry fighting vehicles, and they'll train for weeks, not only on just how to operate the vehicles, but also on how to properly set conditions for maneuver and then maneuver. And then, you know, how to exploit opportunities, how to breach obstacles. So I think this will be a really, really capable package that we put together. And I really do believe that it will enable the Ukrainians to be successful going forward. So this is not dependent upon a single platform. This is a combined arms effort that we brought together that I truly believe is going to provide them the best opportunity for success.
And there's the, on your first question, typically we're not going to discuss, I don't discuss either prohibitions or permissions, authorities on the use of weapons, et cetera. That goes towards rules of engagement, and we don't typically discuss those in a public forum. On the second question, President Biden, President Zelensky, and most of the leaders of Europe have said that this war is likely to end in a negotiation. And from a military standpoint, this is a very, very difficult fight. This fight stretches all the way from right now, so the front line goes from all the way from Kharkiv down to Kherson, and there's significant fighting ongoing, and it's more or less a static front line right this minute, with the exception of Bakhmut and Soledar, where there's significant offensive action going on really from both sides. The distance, that for the United States, that's about from, I guess, Washington, D.C. to Atlanta. So that is a significant amount of territory. And in that territory are still remaining a lot of Russian forces in Russian-occupied Ukraine. So from a military standpoint, I still maintain that for this year, it would be very, very difficult to militarily eject the Russian forces from every inch of Ukrainian-occupied or Russian-occupied Ukraine. That doesn't mean it can't happen, doesn't mean it won't happen, but it'd be very, very difficult. I think what can happen is a continued defense, stabilizing the front. I think it's possible to clearly do that. And I think it's depending on the delivery and training of all of this equipment, I do think it's very, very possible for the Ukrainians to run a significant tactical or even operational level offensive operation to liberate as much Ukrainian territory as possible. And then we'll see where it goes. But I do think at the end of the day, this war, like many wars in the past, will end at some sort of negotiating table, and that'll be determined in terms of timing by the leaders of both countries, both Russia and Ukraine. President Putin could end this war today. He started it. It's his war of choice, and he could end it today because it's turning into an absolute catastrophe for Russia. Massive amounts of casualties, lots of other damage to the Russian military, et cetera. So he should and could end this war right now, right today.
Thank you.